7 critical industries of the future in one way or another find the U.S. in a major position. By show of hands, any Trekkies in the room? I'm a bit of a Trekkie. Any Trekkies? You are a Trekkie. You know what a universal translator is, a little handheld device. You stand here. There's a 4-eyed alien squatting right there. You speak English, immediately translates to their language. They speak their language, immediately back to English. This is about 15 months away. So in about 15 months, you'll be able to speak into a special telephone in English. It will immediately translate to Cantonese, Mandarin, French, Italian, Southern, whatever. They'll speak their language immediately back to English. Within about 18 months, you go to Japan, somewhere else in the world, you don't speak the language. You put on a special pair of sunglasses, somebody speaks to you in Japanese. It immediately translates in written English across the lens of the sunglasses. Is this going to make global travel a little bit easier? The Internet is an incredible, incredible tool. Estimates suggest we have tapped about 10% of the potential of the Internet. When the other Clinton was elected president first time, November 1992, there were essentially 5 public websites. We are now adding new websites globally. The number we use, 65,000 new websites every 60 seconds. An incredible future awaits us. All right, let's face it, economics is boring, confusing, intimidating, frustrating in the hands of an amateur. It is much worse in the hands of a professional. I came across a 4-word definition for economics that is perfect. People respond to incentive. This is what your industry is all about. This is what this country is all about. Free enterprise is not perfect. Capitalism is not perfect, but they are the best systems in the world. You have an incentive in a free enterprise economy to work hard, work smart, work late if necessary, save and invest wisely, help your kids get a good education. Everything we do in a free enterprise economy is incentive and reward-based. That is why it works. Communism, socialism, very few incentives. This is why communism and socialism in their pure form have been imploding over the years to be replaced with the incentive-driven nature of free enterprise. Think about it. 50 years ago, half the world was under communistic control. Realistically today, in its pure form, it is mere handfuls. Winston Churchill said, the inherent vice of capitalism is the unequal sharing of blessings, and the inherent virtue of socialism is the equal sharing of misery. People respond to incentive.
Thank you for your outstanding presentation at our annual meeting. A number of our members had recommended you as a speaker, and now it's easy to see why. Your presentation was not only insightful and informative, but also thoroughly attention-grabbing and humorous as well. The Farm Credit Council. Your in-depth overview of the economy and your humorous approach to the subject was a welcome change from many of the economic programs that we have done in the past. A ton of our members that were in your audience have already signed up for your weekly newsletter, and that in itself is verification of the incredible job you did in making the subject both informational and entertaining. National Tooling and Machining Association. Because of you and your wonderful presentation, ING Group's Miami Forum was a great success. We have received nothing but glowing reviews on your session. Of the 12 speakers we hired for this forum, your presentation was rated most often as the favorite of the group. Not to mention you were very easy to work with in preparation for this event. ING Group.
And the final silver bullet is the stock market will continue to do better. Let's say this room is our entire population. There are 4 generations. Over here, silent majority, greatest generation for many of us are parents, baby boomers, Generation X for many of us are children, Generation Y for many of us are grandchildren. You've got some rows of the greatest generation slowly liquidating investments to finance retirement. You've got other rows breaking even. You've got other rows continuing to add to their portfolio. The baby boom generation will inherit an estimated $15 trillion from our parents, the biggest generational shift of wealth ever, which I suggest will be dwarfed by what we leave our children and our grandchildren. You hear it all the time, one more boomer hitting 50 every 7 seconds, 12,500 boomers hit 50 every day. We now talk about one boomer hitting 60 every 8 seconds. And as you are aware, the oldest of the boomer generation, now hitting age 62, have been able to draw Social Security now for a little over 8 months. But the majority of boomers are in their mid to late 40s and 50s, recognizing we have not saved aggressively enough for retirement. That enormous wealth that was going to build up in our homes and finance retirement isn't necessarily going to be there for millions. The government will provide all generations more tax-based incentives to save money for the future. We are getting older. Kermit the Frog is now 52. Anybody remember the old rock group Paul Revere and the Raiders? Paul Revere is 70. Shirley Temple is 80. Generation X, for many of us, our children, already saving more aggressively for retirement than we ever did, and for two fundamental reasons. One, they do not trust in the future of Social Security. Second, that 401k has been there for them since day one. And I would suggest the same logic will apply to our grandchildren. One of the pieces we update twice a year, we updated I think in the last 2 or 3 weeks, is a piece called Wouldn't It Be Nice If? There's about 60 things on the list. I'm going to touch on about 8. I will conclude with this. Wouldn't it be nice if politicians were elected based on experience and ability, not on who can spend the most money and sling the most mud? Wouldn't it be nice if drive-by shootings were replaced with drive-by moonings? Wouldn't it be nice if Paris Hilton's 15 minutes of fame was over? Wouldn't it be nice if many long-term members of Congress were required to take a year off, start a new business with limited funding, and then deal with the complexities they have created? There's a great story here. Senator George McGovern, presidential nominee in the 70s, leaves the Senate, buys a hotel in Connecticut, which he runs, which ultimately fails. And he goes back to the Senate and testifies and effectively says, I had no idea how tough we make it in this country for small business people to be successful. Wouldn't it be nice if the Osbournes were never heard from again? And wouldn't it be nice if we would keep in mind that despite the problems and the challenges that we face in this country, it remains the greatest country in the world.
You were great, and yes, economics can be entertaining and humorous. Early feedback shows that yours may have been one of the best overall sessions we have ever had. It's tough being the last act on a Saturday morning, but I didn't see a single participant leave after the break. Kudos to you for a job well done. Metal Treating Institute. Your presentation in Las Vegas was a huge hit with our members. The timeliness of your information, your intermixed humor and thought-provoking message held the attention of everyone during the presentation. I have heard numerous economic speakers over the years, and I have to say yours was the most understandable and cohesive of any I have ever heard. The Vision Council. Entertaining and economist in the same sentence? Yes. with Jeff Thredgold.